groundwork have you been doing,
girl? Oh, Lord
in
Jesus.
your life to lead to the Progress Center for Black women?
It's really been so.
Because the support has been overwhelming for you. You know, you've been featured in Essence for Walk 100.
It's, to be honest with you, it's a lot of folks think it'll happen overnight, but it's been like since I moved to Madison, I've been building. And so I worked here for a technical college for about 10 to 12 years. And in that time that I worked at the college, I was also picking up gigs to speak in to groups across the country. But what was happening to my spirit was like my spirit was taking a hit. Because when I would come back here, like I would fly out of Atlanta at 10 o'clock at night, when I would come here and give a talk in my own city in Madison, and I walk into the room and these women weren't looking like me. So that was like really crushing for me. You know, like it was like how many times I can continue to do this. And so I was personally dealing with that stress of just like, man, I go to a space where I feel fulfilled and I feel happy and people look like me, and I'm sharing gems on how to make more money and like leverage your skills to generate more income for yourself. And why can't I share that to Black women who look like me, and why aren't they in the space? So long story short, I quit my job. I was like, you know, my job. I was telling people like, before you quit. And I didn't quit without, you know, like, it's not that I had a plan, but I was already doing something.
Right, because, you know, people are like, I'm just going to quit.
Yeah, it's just like,
I have no plan.
Most of the time when people just quit, they're already doing something that gives them the motivation to quit. So that's the difference. We don't just quit to quit. We already busy doing something else before we quit. So the thing that I did was, again, my spirit is taking a hit. I'm having a hard time coming back here after, like, you know, doing a talk in D.C. or in Atlanta. And I asked myself, I was like, what would leadership look like for Black women in Madison? So I'm here, I'm at a talk, and I asked myself that question. So I sketched out what would become the Sold Out Black Women's Leadership Conference. So I sketched that out. Maybe that night or the second night, I put the event up on Facebook, and it sold out in under a week. Now, it's like a week into me planning this conference, and this is like February, so it's a week into me planning this conference.
And so this is before the center.
This is like 2016.
Yes.
So a week or two, somewhere around mid to end of February, I put that event up. I quit my job the first week of March because my conference is taking off or whatever. I'm very busy trying to get this conference to go, and now I'm still traveling and coming back and forth, and I'm like I feel so good planning this conference, talking to these Black women, thinking about speakers, talking to women who want to come to the space. And I'm like thinking about going, and I was on vacation, so I wasn't back at work. And when I thought about having to go back to work after this vacation is up, I just couldn't do it.
So the work that you were doing prior, was it connected to what you're doing now in any way?
All of it. It all built from there.
Okay, it was all streamlined.
It all built. Yeah. So like I started here in Madison building doing these conversation mixtapes where I would get Black men and Black women together to just talk about love, all kinds of things about just being in Black relationships and what that looks like and how we can make ourselves better. But we did that, girl, over food, drinks, and good music. And that grew. We did that from 2013 till about 2015. I just started out really busy.
It led to this.
Yeah. So I did the conference. From the conference, I did the Black Business Expo.
Yeah.
Expo, I added a youth conference. And how this came to be is I started thinking about legacy. Because also what was happening that I also kind of like was causing me to take a hit on my spirit again is that as I'm more successful, as the conference is growing, I'm being advised, you should take this all over, you should take it to more, you should take it. And I get it as an entrepreneur, but then I thought about the woman at the conference who said to me, I've lived in Madison for 14 years and I've never experienced that. So if I take and remove myself from a space that fulfilled her, what do women like that have once I'm gone?
So, and the space is needed.
So I was like, I can do stuff for other places, but I can also be very consistent and permanent also here.
So and even being consistent here, your work has been recognized
all over.
Over
So it's like you can build with people who basically built you too. You know, you can give back to them as much as they give back to you, and I can still exist in other cities and other spaces. So
Madison is not your home front.
No, I grew up in Milwaukee.
Tell us about that experience. And then, that take us back. That leads to Madison. I don't know how far y'all back you want to go,
but so I grew up in Milwaukee. I was born in Chicago. We left Chicago when I was maybe 8 or 9 years old. Like a lot of Milwaukeeans, we left Chicago for Milwaukee. I grew up on 34th and Center before moving out to the Silver Spring Drive area, but I went to like Washington High School, Kosciuszko Middle School, and Forest Home Elementary, where my school was growing up. And what led to Madison is that as I was growing up, and I had my kid 2 weeks to my 16th birthday, so I had to be very considerate now. I'm thinking about a whole other person. What is the best thing for him? And so I grew up in a family where, you know, my brothers were in and out of prison. My uncles were in and out of prison. So do I stay in an environment where, you know, our house might get shot up and it get shot up or we get robbed or like, do I want that to be what my son looked up to be?
Right.
And so the answer was, of course, was no.
And you made that decision at what age?
So my son, when we moved to Madison, he was maybe in his second half of 6th grade. But I was raising my son, I've always been very conscious from day one, like he would not have the same outcomes. And today, my son is a software developer for American Family Insurance. So my son has never been in trouble, ain't had an inch of trouble. First guy in our family, which is sad and great, to graduate college, live on his own, have a good job.
So he's like a lot of firsts.
Yes.
A lot of firsts.
A lot of firsts.
That you decided to make that decision as a woman to say, I want to protect my baby.
Yep. And the thing of what people don't, I always tell people, you can do whatever you want to do, and you don't have to have the backing of everybody to do it, because when I moved here, I knew no one. But what I did know is that I didn't have any family here. And I was purposeful in that. Okay. Because I didn't want to.
So it wasn't that you didn't want to leave Wisconsin, or?
I just didn't want my son to be in an environment where my family would have a negative impact on him. And I had to be very conscious about that. So I literally packed up our apartment. I came to Madison a couple times. You know, we took a retreat here, but then I would come here, you know, look for a job, look for an apartment. So I found both within a matter of maybe a week or two when I made the decision. Found that apartment, girl. I think we moved here. I started my job like a week later.
Yeah, and it
just blew. Yeah. That's why I always tell people, like, don't be afraid of change, especially even if we're talking about changing city, changing job, changing relationship, because you got to think about, what is the thing that's going to fulfill me? Is the thing that I am in right now not fulfilling me? And if I take this chance, would the outcome fulfill me? Right. So think about it more like that. Than like,
and
oh my
as
God,
women, like we're always like, should we take this chance?
Yeah, and
we think about others so much. That we neglect ourselves.
And if we really, what I learned and what I'm learning now, if we really think about it, by taking care of everybody else, those everybody else's are not always like feeding, like putting back into us. We put so much into our families, our siblings, our community, and not often those people give back to us.
And that's what I like about the center. Like, you know, coming in here and the whole vibe of the center is, it's about us. It's about her. That's who it's about. 100%. If she wants to come in, you know, whoever she is, and to read, to write, to study, to just relax, to watch TV.
Girl, we be here watching Insecure. You're like, Living Single is always on.
I noticed that you had a Living Single event. I just think that's so innovative, so innovative, so creative, and as women entrepreneurs, I think it is important to make sure that you kind of check the scene and see what's not out there. Like you said, I noticed. You know, I was speaking, and I came back to Madison, and I'm like, I don't see what I've been getting. You know, on the road. For you to create that space.
It was, and two, I didn't realize it until after the fact. But two, in creating the space, I was mostly also saving myself and creating the space that I also was needing, but I didn't realize it after the fact. Because I worked in predominantly white workspaces most of the time that I've been employed, especially when I moved here. And so that it takes a hit on your spirit, on your soul. Right. So I was like, in building this, like when I'm here in this space, I feel so free. And I force people, not force, I mean, you know, whatever. Force. And I said, we're going to meet at the Progress Center, because one, it changes the power dynamic. So you're coming into a space that I've created where I sort of like control and lead. And I feel good here. Right. I don't have to go into another space and just like, you know, sometimes you're in a space that doesn't feel good. You have to reorient yourself, and your bearings are kind of off. Right. So when I come here, I'm already comfortable. And you're the person who may not look like me, who is uncomfortable. So
because it's like your music, whatever music you want to play, you know, what you want to watch on TV at that time.
And when people come down in here, they're like in awe, especially if they're not like black women or black girls. But when black girls come in, they come in and they just like run around. They stop and look at every picture. They stop and read every quote. They stop and touch all the books. You know, it's such a it's like going to that one auntie house who always has the dopest books. You know, you're gonna go there, she's gonna have Essence magazine laid out.
I can relate. I have an aunt like that. That just when I was growing up, it made me want to create that space in my home. So we're talking about that space in that home and that feel we get here. Did you have that feel growing up?
I did. So again, on 34th, the thing about or the big difference between Madison and Milwaukee is when we grew up in Milwaukee, most of us had front porches. If we didn't have a front porch, we had the backyard. So I wanted to create that energy, that vibe that came in the summertime in Milwaukee, where you could sit out on the porch, and your porch was the gathering space. So our porch, we stayed on a corner, so we had a nice, pretty big size porch, and then this corner by the alley, and we would all congregate there, and we would just be talking all kind of stuff, you know. So I really wanted to create that gathering space for us here in Madison to do that. So it was basically just about, because too, like, you know, in the wintertime, you go inside, you're in the living room, and the living room becomes the gathering space.
That's the meeting space.
Yeah. Right. So I wanted women especially to walk in here and feel like so comfortable that it almost feels like home, or it feels like home to them.
It does feel like home.
Yeah.
The books that you have in the center. I mean, just coming into the door, the Black Girls Rock. I love how strategically you chose those books, those titles. What does that mean?
Oh, it means in a space or in a city like Madison, it means here's a space where everything is about you, where you have control, you have direction. It's about you versus you trying to fit into something else. So for me, it was all about helping Black women sort of like think about themselves as powerful and saying that this is about me. This is a space I can do what I want to do in it. I can have some sort of control. I can develop content in this space, and I can just come in here and kick back and feel good about it, where I don't have to sort of like acclimate to something else that doesn't feel good. Like sometimes people don't realize the reason that it never works is because it wasn't built with you in mind. Right. Whereas in this space, a Black woman designed this space. You know, I went right to a Black woman, hired a Black woman and her Black husband, and they came here and designed the space and put it together. They chose the furniture, they chose the paint, they chose the tables, you know, like, so they listened to me. And only, to be honest with you, not that a person not Black couldn't do this, but I think because I sat down and shared the feedback from other Black women with the Black woman at the leadership of a Black woman, that's how the space came to be. So and
beautiful. That's neat that you decided to be inclusive and say, what do you want in the center?
Oh yeah.
What do you want? What were some of the things that, I mean, we're here in the center today, but what were some of the things that the women wanted in the center?
So overwhelming, they wanted a space to escape the rest of Madison. That was a constant theme. They wanted to come in here, they wanted to relax, put their feet up, close the door, be, like we heard over and over again, be away from the rest of the world. Then they wanted some classes, like some entrepreneurial topics, some topics around financial freedom. They wanted to be able to come in here and bring their kids, and their kids are comfortable, and it's not where, oh, don't touch this, don't move that, but that they felt comfortable in the space. And so this space is 800 square feet, so we couldn't meet everything, but we met as much as we can to make it comfortable.
And I like that intergenerational vibe. You know, so you have the area for the young girls, and then just overall you just have area for women. It's for everyone.
The good thing too, what this space does for me is it acts almost as I could test my ideas in this space, because we're now working on plans to develop our permanent space where we'll have maybe up to 10,000 square feet to play with. So this allows me to test ideas.
So you're going from
800 square feet to 10,000 square feet.
Because
the initial goal was to just go from the desk to the 10,000 square feet, but people were like, no, we're ready to go visit the center now.
They was ready now.
So I was like, what can I do?
So did the people push you?
They did. They pushed me.
The people pushed you.
The women, because you know, this is the thing with Black women. Black women don't wait. What we want it now. And
that's the
you're
truth.
Going to get it.
That's the truth.
So women were saying, no, Sabrina, when can we visit? We are ready for this space now. So I had to figure out an interim plan before we get to 10,000 square feet. Wow. And this became the interim plan.
That's amazing.
So it was like push. And believe me, the girls, especially the middle school girls will put you to work. Yes, put me to work.
So who are some of the organizations that you partner with to use this space?
So we've had everyone from Girls Inc. They have a chapter here over at our Goodman Community Center.
Okay. And that's a national organization,
yes, it is.
Okay.
Yep. We've had, we work heavily with Madison Metropolitan School District. So, for example, we had a group from their program, Say Par, which is for pregnant moms. So they'll come over here, you know, they came over, chilled out, had lunch, had conversation. Yesterday, for example, we had Operation Fresh Start who came in and hung out with us. So it just depends. Sometimes they're community groups, sometimes they're long, well-established groups. But I always tell folks, if you have a group of young people, come through and kick it. Especially if they're, because when the groups come, I'm very adamant about specifically talking to the black girls who are in those groups.